the former Science and Higher Education Minister, Professor Hirut Woldemariam, currently is working as the Social Sector Advisor to the Prime Minister with a ministerial rank. She is also running as Ethiopian candidate for the African Union Commissioner of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to our weekly Addis Dialogue. With it, I'm Shifarao Lako. We'll be spending some time with the Professor to stay with us. Professor, a very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Just for starters, for the people that aren't that familiar with you, let's start with yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm the firstborn in my family of 4 kids. And I was born in Debre Marcos, but grown up here in Addis. Well, I went to public school around Kusquam because my father didn't afford to send me to private school. Then I did my studies at Addis Ababa University, first degree, second degree. And then I did my PhD degree in the University of Cologne, Institute for African Studies. It was a joint program with Addis Ababa University. And then, completing my PhD, I came back to Addis Ababa University where I worked. And I actually served in the academia at Addis Ababa University, the premier higher education institution of Ethiopia, the flagship institution, for about 25 years. So I spent most of my life there and grown up there, I can say. I was really lucky enough not only to work to serve as an academician, as a teacher, as a researcher and so on, but also got the chance, a unique chance to serve at the top management level at the university, top leadership group. So actually practiced leadership and management from the smallest unit in the university, from the department. I was department head at the Department of Linguistics and Philology. I was the first woman department head, and then I got promoted to be Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs. Again, I was the first woman to take up that position, so Associate Vice President, and then I became Vice President of the university, the first woman Vice President in the history of Addis Ababa University. On the side, I was also very active with my research projects. I had international collaborative research projects with NORAD, SIDA, and so on. And I got the chance to publish like 3 dozens of research papers published in peer-reviewed international journals. And I was also traveling around the world presenting my research outputs in different conferences because of those international projects. Then that enabled me to get promoted, also professionally in the academic rank, from lecturer to, of course, since I did my PhD, assistant professor, and then associate professor, and then full professor of linguistics. Yeah. So, luckily I managed to progress in all spheres, the leadership, as well as in the professional or academic rank. And it seems for me that my visibility at Addis Ababa University as the first woman vice president, and also became successful with my research outputs and so on, gave me the visibility, helped me to be seen by, I think, government body at a higher level. And then it was a call away. I was invited and appointed to serve at a ministerial portfolio, first for the Minister for Culture and Tourism, and then as a Minister for Labor and Social Affairs, And then the third, as a minister for science and higher education. That one was very much close to my heart since my background is academia, since I came from university. And I knew, the challenge and the opportunities, especially in the higher education system. I knew problems with the curriculum and so on. So I was the founding minister, actually. I was not just a minister for science and higher education, but I was a founding minister. You know what it means? I had to build up the ministry from ground up. Organize it, staff it, brand it, and yeah, it was really tough, but I successfully organized that ministry and kick off. And I used that landscape, that platform, to reform the curriculum, to make curriculum review and add, incorporate a 1-year first-year program into the curriculum on soft skills, basic competency, and other skill and technology courses, knowledge courses like, critical thinking, emerging technologies, communication, inclusiveness, history, and more. That was the plan, was to align the higher education curriculum with the objectives, socio-economic objectives of the nation, and to align it with the demands of the industry, and to make it fit to the 21st century job market of not only Ethiopia but also, globally, to have competent graduates. So that was, I have initiated a curriculum review, and then I have implemented it. And that is something that I'm proud of. But there are also a number of reform initiatives that I have accomplished, like differentiation of higher education institutions. Before, every university can have any kind of teaching program, from BA to PhD, in any field, regardless of the human resource it has, regardless of the infrastructure, the laboratory, the workshop it has. And it was just free. So, that way we cannot control the quality of education. We cannot ensure to have quality graduates. So I said, something is wrong, we have to work on this. And then we did a study and also benchmarked other countries, and finally we have differentiated or categorized Ethiopian higher education institutions into 3: to research universities, polytechnic or applied science universities, and then comprehensive universities. And then we further let them have their own area of specialization, each one. Like, for instance, universities are focusing on engineering as their area of specialization, others on agriculture, and still others with, maybe engineering or tourism or, so that was also a very important reform initiative that I brought into the higher education system. So in a way that currently I'm holding a 4th ministerial position as an advisor to His Excellency Dr. Abiy Ahmed, advisor of social sector, because I've been in the culture, labor, tourism, education. I have covered quite a number of the social sector areas. So I'm trying to synergize this ministerial portfolios and to, come up with policy suggestions and advices. So yeah, very briefly, that's me. By the way, I can consider myself as a scientist, because I have published, as I told you, like 3 dozens of publications, peer-reviewed articles in international journals, and I'm also a duly recruited member or fellow of the Ethiopian Science Academy. That's something big. Yeah. And I'm also, I got an award from Alexander Humboldt Foundation as a senior scientist, based on what I have done so far So in any way, I believe that I fit very well to this position, considering the qualities and the rich experience in the portfolio that I have come across so far. My path, my journey was very, I can say, intense, very intensive, but then gave me the capacity, the skills, managerial skills, leadership skills, and gave me the strength, the endurance to, prepare me to work at a continental level. I'm also a member of a public diplomacy group of Ethiopia, and I got the chance to go to Cairo years ago with this group, and I got the chance to talk to His Excellency President Al-Sisi on the GERD issue as a public diplomat. So I have, different hats. That's me.
All right. As you told me, you are a professor of linguistics and philology, and also you have been serving in different top government officials, of course, including recently as Science and Higher Education Minister, in total in 4 ministerial positions. You also received various awards and recognitions. So taking all these things into consideration, I take it that you can be a good model for up and coming Ethiopians, especially girls, and ambitious Ethiopians in general. What's the secret to your success, may I ask, and what should they take from you or learn from you?
My secret is nothing but hard working, to be honest. I'm a hard-working person, and I'm a quick learner, and I'm good with team building team, harmonized team and mobilizing team. So I think I have a track record to mobilize and to establish team spirit in all positions I've taken up so far. And of course, I read and I work on self-development every time. I read and I listen to motivational speech, motivate myself, and and I'm fearless. That's how my friends call me. I'm bold, and I take opportunities, and I capacitate myself, and if I believe in something, I go for it. No hesitation. So hard working is, I think, the main element here for my success. I work day and night, and I got that from my parents. My father was a teacher, high school teacher. He did his bachelor's degree at Addis Dialogue University himself. So he has been always telling us about the power of education, power of reading and writing, and so since early childhood I was engaged, with this intellectual kind of intercourse, reading, writing, and listening, and developing myself intellectually, emotionally.
Professor, let's talk about your candidacy for Africa Union Commissioner of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation. Now you are Ethiopian candidate for this continental position. What inspired you to even think about this continental position?
Since childhood, I've been passionate about Pan-Africanism, the notion of Pan-Africanism, African Renaissance. I think because of my late father, who used to be a teacher at the high school for geography of Africa and history of Africa. So it was deep inside my heart. But then when I did my PhD at the University of Cologne, at the Institution of African Studies, I got the chance to meet many African colleagues, African PhD students coming from various corners of Africa, and I got the chance to, have conversation with them about the opportunities of Africa, the challenge of Africa, what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed, and so on. So I think that has also reinforced my dream to serve at a continental level. But actually, I believe that this position, Commissioner for Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation, is a key center for advancement of Africa into prosperous, globally influential, peaceful and integrated continent. As it's been well expressed in the Agenda 2063's aspirations. So, I believe that it's a huge calling. There is no greater calling than serving the advancement of Africa in its aim to be transformed into prosperous and globally influential continent. And I believe this commission is a key, since it's only through working on the next generation, educating the next generation, cultivating the youth, that we can ensure a better Africa tomorrow. And I believe that there is, this can only be achieved through quality education, through, fostering and nurturing the deep culture of innovation and technology, Africa-relevant technology and innovation. That's the only way for us, to advance as a continent as well as a nation, because we have to. Human capital is an engine for economic development. So advancing our human capital through education, science, and technology, relevant one, quality one, will lead us to our destination, to make the best out of African indigenous knowledge of our ancestors. We need to work on our education system and training system, skill development system. And we need to nurture science and technology.
Professor, you are one of the 5 shortlisted, highly ranked top candidates. Tell me about the selection process.
Yeah, the selection process was really tough. And there was a panel of eminent Africans who was responsible for the screening process. And it's for the first time in the history that African Union decided to make talent-based recruitment for commissioners' positions. There are 6 commissioners' positions currently. So, the announcement was opened, and then I prepared the necessary documents and applied. And, they scrutinized the CVs of all the applicants, and then I was selected for the interview. There was an interview, very tough, with the panel of eminent Africans, and then there was also group discussion where they can, evaluate our team participation, team spirit, and leadership skills in that group discussion. And we also had psychometric tests. So I have passed through a rigorous series of selection and screening process, and be able to be selected, short-listed as one of the 5. Actually, I was the highest-ranked woman candidate shortlisted. But the thing is, something tricky is going on in the selection, in the next stage of the election process. What I heard is that, if the chair or the deputy chair of Africa Union, if one of them comes from the eastern region, then commissioner will not be acceptable from the eastern region. No. So, that's something that we have no control at all. So they want to keep the regional composition when they start the endorsement from higher up, from the chair and deputy chair. So keep my fingers crossed that, any one of the two positions won't be taken by a member of Eastern African country, but otherwise, merit-based, talent-based, I'm in a very good position, as endorsed by the panel of eminent Africans. So we're, looking forward for the final decision to be made in just 2 weeks' time.
Well, Professor, let's talk about your vision. What's your vision going to be like for this African Union Commissioner of Education, Science, Technology, and Innovation?
My vision is that to enable inclusive, Africa-relevant, and high-quality education for Africans, and to foster deep culture of innovation and technology that can unleash the potential of African youth for the betterment of the continent. And my vision is also to unblock the indigenous knowledge of Africa, of our ancestors. We have very rich indigenous knowledge that we haven't tapped well so far, I believe. So we have to make the best out of it by blending it with the modern technology and science. So my vision is to unlock African minds for the betterment, for the advancement of Africa, in order to fulfill the aspirations of Agenda 2063. My vision is also to empower African youth so that they can convert our problems and challenges into opportunities, into innovations. Quality of life of Africans is very low currently. We are doing things manually. Our economic development is unstable because it's not knowledge-based, it's not technology-based. So we need to empower the next generation. We need to unlock the potentials of African youth so that they can transform the continent into the global powerhouse, as it is stated in the Agenda 2063.
Now let's also talk about this. If you are given the post, what will be your top priorities in Africa or in Ethiopia in particular?
If I get elected, I will work towards ensuring access to education for all. I mean, we have that rhetoric theoretically, but we have to, beyond rhetoric, we have to act to make this possible. And the other one is to ensure quality and Africa-relevant education, the one that fits to the demands of the 21st century, the one that responds to the demands, to the needs of the continent and the member states. So I will call for a bold curriculum reform, actually, if I get elected, to make sure that the curriculum we have across the continent fits very well with the 21st century job market and needs and demands of the continent. We have to make sure that it will take us to the destination we want to get. Yeah. And the other one is, if I get elected, I'll work toward this revitalization of African universities and African schools. Revitalization and reforming and enhancing them. Number one, by making sure that we have the ecosystem of education, science, technology, innovation, ecosystem, it should involve all relevant stakeholders, the private sector, the industry, civic societies, the community should take part, in the education and training system. And the ecosystem should be changed, should be balanced to accommodate all relevant stakeholders and to do things together collaboratively. That way, we'll have quality education and training, and we'll have relevant graduates for the economy and job market. And also, I will work toward establishing leading centers of excellence, African centers of excellence. We need those. We already have some, and we have to enhance them, strengthen them, but we need more important, globally leading centers of excellence for Africa, placed in different corners of Africa, center of excellence. Like, for example, Africa, Ethiopia, is origin of mankind. We need to have a very strong center of excellence on archaeology, paleontology there, And the whole world, scholars from abroad, from all corners of the world should come here to get, training, education, and to do research. And another priority that I would go for if I get elected is to incorporate values of Pan-Africanism, ideals of Pan-Africanism into the educational system, so that our children, right from the early age, should, develop values of Pan-Africanism, Pan-African identity. They need to have Pan-African identity to know and, grow through it. And I would like to go for harmonization of accreditation systems in African higher education institutions. And we need to have standardized systems that will allow us staff mobility, student mobility across the continent. A student from Ethiopia can go to Nigeria or South Africa and continue his or her education there, if we have, harmonized accreditation system and qualification standard. Just like the European Union Erasmus Mundus, program. They have this program across European Union member states. I also look forward, if I get elected, to work towards establishing Pan-African scholarship institutions where bright African boys and girls from the various corners of the continent come together, assemble to receive truly African education for the benefit of Africa, and do research on African issues so that we can produce the future of African scientists, the future of the next generation of African leaders and African innovators and African craftsmen and women. Another thing that I think we need to focus on is having a digitally literate citizens. Everybody should be digitally literate in this world. We have to prepare our youth, to be digitally literate. Otherwise, look what we have gone through, the pandemic, the COVID-19 season. We're still suffering. We're still into it. So our children, they couldn't make it in the school. Schools and universities were closed. They had to go back home and to follow their education, their lessons online. But in most of African countries, infrastructure was not there. We have no infrastructure, no internet, and the kids, they don't have gadgets, and they don't have the skills, the digital skill. So, they were cut off. They couldn't continue their education on this online platform, while the rest of the world has been doing well. So, I mean, this pandemic, we never know how long it will stay with us anyway. No one can predict. And we're not sure if we don't get something, different in the future. So, another pandemic, a human-made or another crisis. So we need to make sure that everybody is digitally literate and can access to education on different modalities. I know Ethiopia, being one of the founding members of Africa Union and the former OAU, and Ethiopia being the host of this institution in its capital city, Addis Ababa, and hosting African Union here. But Ethiopia has never taken up a higher leadership position in this institution. I mean, that's not fair. We're contributing a lot, and we need to take part in the leadership arena of this prestigious institution, African Union. And I'm looking forward to take up this commissioner position for education, science, and technology, and to make a difference.
Finally, let me ask you this question. What's your view about Africa and also transforming it into a better developed continent?
Yeah, I believe that our continent, Africa, has a great potential, to advance and to get transformed into the global powerhouse of the future. I say this because Africa has all what it takes. It has the largest, youngest population ever in the planet. We have the largest, energetic, dynamic youth in our continent, which is not found anywhere else in the globe. And we do also have plenty of natural resources in this continent. Also, Africa is located on a very strategic place and position. So that's also another advantage for us. But the thing is, we are still in poverty, we are still lagging behind, and we're not advancing, and we're, having a number of issues and challenges and problems. Our youth, they're suffering from migration, violence, radicalization, joblessness, and so. So for our Africa really to advance and to develop economically and to have a sustainable economic growth, there is no other way but we need to work on the next generation, on the youth. How? Through quality education, through innovation, and through Africa-relevant kind of curriculum. So unless we work on our youth, even if we have, plenty of natural resources around, even if we have, wonderful weather and position geopolitically in a very good post in the globe, but still remain in our current circumstance in poverty. So we have to be quick and alert to transform our youth, to work on our youth. I think that should be a priority. That's why I say this commission is critical, it's influential to transform the whole continent. Africa can come out as a stronger and globally influential continent. We have to make sure that we work in a different way, strategically, on our youth, the youth of Africa, because that's the key for the future of Africa, and that's the key to see the Africa we want.
Well, Professor, I wish you every success in your campaign, and thank you so much for your wonderful perspectives, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, the viewers, that was Professor Hirut Woldemariam talking to us. Thanks a lot for being with us so far. Until I see you with another program, it's goodbye from me, Shifar Aulaka. Bye-bye.